Well, there was a statement on the FAA website that said that they are streamlining the process for public agencies to fly unmanned aerial surveillance planes, drones, inside the U.S. What about this? We're back with the panel. Raised a lot of eyebrows up on Capitol Hill, Charles.
It should. I'm going to go hard left on you here. I'm going to go ACLU. I don't want regulations. I don't want restrictions. I want a ban on this. Drones are instruments of war. The founders had a great aversion to any instruments of war, the use of the military, inside of the United States. They didn't like standing armies. It has all kinds of statutes against using the army in the country. A drone is a high-tech version of an old army and a musket. It ought to be used in Somalia to hunt the bad guys, but not in America. I don't want to see it hovering over anybody's home. Yes, you can say we've got satellites, we've got Google Street, and London has a camera on every street corner, but that's not an excuse to cave in on everything else and accept a society where you're always under being watched by the government. This is not what we want. I would say you ban it under all circumstances, and I would predict, I'm not encouraging, but I'm predicting the first guy who uses a Second Amendment weapon to bring a drone down that's been hovering over his house is going to be a folk hero in this country.
I don't know if you can do that. Aren't they awfully high up?
Well, you may have to use a lot of them. You may have to use a very high-powered one. You may have to use a bazooka. I'm not encouraging. I'm simply making a prediction.
The libertarian,
a folk
Charles,
hero.
is stepping up.
Left-wing
well,
libertarian.
Look, I think there's going to be a huge outcry from conservatives and Republicans in the House of Representatives against this. I mean, this is like black helicopters, redux.
It doesn't worry you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know what they're going to be used for, and if it's more than a crime helicopter. But all I'm saying is the politics of this, regardless of my personal opinions, that this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and it's going to be like black helicopters.
Well, it's been used once already. There's already a case, a North Dakota man apparently testing the legality of drones in the domestic law enforcement cases. Tucker, I mean, it sounds like it's coming to a head. The FAA says it's moving forward to streamline this. Is this going to run into a wall?
I hope so. Let me say I've never admired Charles Krauthammer more, and that's saying a lot as a longtime fan, than I do now for saying that. And I don't think it's obvious that conservatives will rally against this. There is a reflexive feeling on the right that law enforcement deserves our respect. I think, of course, that's right. But I do think there's maybe less suspicion than there should be about things like this. Look, here's what we know about drones. They're cheap. They're very cheap. They're much cheaper than a police helicopter, multiples cheaper. They're highly sought after by the military, and there are a lot of them for sale as we're withdrawing from Afghanistan and Iraq. This is the perfect storm. We are going to see these around the country, and they will be used for uses not yet considered, and the result will be to lessen our privacy greatly from what it is now. I think it's a terrifying prospect, and I hope that based on Charles's comments just a moment ago, there will be a tsunami of opposition that culminates in a preemptive ban.
Rifles aimed at the sky all across America.
Yeah, so wait a second. What about from the law enforcement point of view that's dealing with a budget that they can't handle? They're saying, listen, we can't afford helicopters, but we need the eyes in the sky to be able to see where the bad guys are. And if we're cutting budgets across state and local governments, this is a way to help us out. What do you say to them?
I would say the price of liberty. You can hear a helicopter, you can't hear a drone. You know, if you hear a helicopter, you can hide under a bush. Well, you can't with this, which is why it's effective in Pakistan and elsewhere. It's deaf and it's silent. Now, I don't think we want a society where there are these objects hovering over, streaming real-time information about you, your family, your car, your location. We know it's going to be abused. Yes, you say, sure, we're going to start a restriction here now so we can save $80,000. It's not worth it.
Well, this is also part of a longer-term trend toward the militarization of police departments. I mean, I travel a lot, always struck by you go be in some town and you'll see the police, and they look like members of Delta Force.
What about Great Britain?
Automatic weapons?
Over in Europe, where they have the cameras all over the streets, they use
well, that used to be one of the things that separated living in the United States from being in almost any other country abroad. You don't see soldiers on the street in this country. You never did. That is changing, sadly.
And the founders were deeply opposed to the militarization of civil society. They had all kinds of aversions to it, and this is importing it because, it's, as you say, it's cheap, it's easy, it's silent, it's something that you can easily deploy. It's going to be, I think, the bane of our existence. Stop it here, stop it now.
Wow.
Strong letter to follow.
I think so.
To clarify.
How do you really feel about this?
How do you really feel about this?
Yeah.
Okay, Charles Krauthammer. That's as animated as I've seen you on that topic.
This could be a moment. This is a conversion. People always say, well, Washington is terrible because nobody agrees. There's no union set between the left and the right. This could be an issue on which the libertarians and conservatives and the ACLU people get together.
Well, that's happened time and again with the Patriot Act and other kinds
less and less,
well,
that's it for the panel. But